Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live from our studios here at Kukumlimle Joy 99.7 FM. In Kumasi, we are live on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across the 16 regions of Ghana, including Kekeli Radio in Ho, Radio Justice in Tamale, and Radio Max in Takrade. Better still, please download the My Joy Online app from Play Store and App Store to listen live around the world. Coming up, Minority in Parliament demands parliamentary probe into operations of Frontier Healthcare Services as it lists litany of breaches requiring investigations.
The report, if it's revealing, will call for heads to roll on this matter without any hesitation.
Former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donko insists the agreement with power company GPGC was in the interest of the nation as evidenced by Parliament's approval of the deal in July 2015.
Somebody today says it was poorly drafted. There are senior lawyers, far more senior lawyers in Parliament.
We have details as he urges government to make use of the excess power available to attract investors rather than seek to make political capital out of it. Also, a senior high school student of the Commander Senior High Technical School in the Central Region left with badly bruised buttocks after she was allegedly caned by her headmistress.
Or the abani be go no papa maso. Na me di meto no ekoche madam say madam she dia waye meto. No ka chem say.
We hear from her as the parents file official police complaints. We have sports.
Former IBF bantamweight champion Joseph King Kong Agbeko's dream of landing another world title shot has hit a snag. We'll tell you why later in sports.
And later in the bulletin, topping the trends hours after its release.
One of the very, very personal message song themed in the album.
I'll tell you more about musician Kitty's new album, Golden Boy. That's and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. Thanks for your company. This afternoon, the minority in Parliament is set to move a motion for a bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the award of a contract to Frontier's Healthcare Solutions Services Limited for COVID-19 testing at the Koduka International Airport by the government. Transport Minister Kwekwe Siama told Parliament Frontiers has so far made $16 million from COVID-19 testing at the airport. The group at a news conference alleged several breaches of the country's laws requiring investigations. The minority at that press conference a while ago said a formal notice has been given to the Speaker for his consideration. Here's the leader, Haruna Idrisu.
We are concerned about government not being sensitive to the plight of poor Ghanaians who may be returning home to their country as a result of job losses because of COVID, only to be charged for COVID, only to benefit a private player and not the Republic. We are concerned about it, and we think that you must probe further into this matter. As you know, this transaction was characterized again by the Nana Dankwa government lack of transparency and accountability. When you ask them, they say, oh, COVID, emergency. So under emergency, our procurement laws must stand still. Is that the case? That because there is COVID in Ghana, our laws should not work? The Procurement Law, our Health Institutions and Facilities Act, and the Fees and Charges Act have all been breached. We are not a lawless country. We are a country governed by law. And simply, our procurement laws, settled law, must be respected. So we filed a motion. We pray that the Speaker admits the motion. We'll call for a bipartisan probe and inquiry into the matter. The report, if it's revealing, will call for heads to roll on this matter without any hesitation.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu there. Let's bring in parliamentary correspondent Joseph Bokugakba, who sat through that press briefing. Joseph, so we've heard the Minority Leader outline these alleged breaches, but did they provide to the media any evidence to back the claim? Hello, Joseph. It appears we don't have Joseph Opoku-Gakpo there on the phone just yet. We'll work the lines and get back to him on this. So the minority, they are set to move a motion for a bipartisan parliamentary probe into the award of a contract, especially to Frontiers Healthcare Solution Services Limited. And my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us once again. So Joseph, I was asking earlier about beyond the alleged breaches that was put forward by the minority leader, did they give any evidence to back the claim?
He makes the point that this is something that they are hoping that eventually when the probe is done by the bipartisan committee, the necessary details will emerge. He makes the point that they are also asking for a probe similarly, not just having to do with the Frontiers deal issue, but also the Sputnik vaccines that had been procured. Allegedly, processes were ongoing to get that procured by the government of Ghana. And he makes the point that some of the issues that they've come to identify has to do with the alleged inflation of the prices, and then drew attention to how the health minister had previously disclosed that a deputy ambassador at the Russian embassy is the one that they had engaged in all the processes, and that the Russian government was in the moon when it comes to the first independent people, but then no such position exists. So then he says the contradiction coming from the health ministry and other officials makes it untenable to continue to believe government that when it comes to the management of the entire COVID-19 fight, from the plans to procure vaccines to the deal with the frontier healthcare services, things have been done right, which they are hoping that the third bipartisan probe would help reveal all those details.
So there was an indication that the office of the speaker has already been formally notified. Did they say how soon we're hoping to get this bipartisan probe?
Mr. Harana Joseph says they are very much confident that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, will go ahead and admit this as quickly as possible for the said probe to begin, and that he has a lot of confidence in the Speaker, looking at the fact that there is a key national issue that's dominated conversation for quite a while, and they look forward to him admitting it so the motion can be moved formally on the floor.
So it's interesting that you're asking for a bipartisan probe. Is it that they have the buy-in of the majority on this?
We're still waiting to get the response from the majority side on whether they will give their own backing to this probe that the minority say they are filing. But at least 5 minority MPs have their signatures appended to this, and from what we gather, the entire minority group are in support of it.
That's parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Will stay a while longer in Parliament because chairman of the Appointments Committee is defending the one-sided vetting and approval of 4 deputy minister designates by the House. The NDC minority boycotted the approval of Dinah Asunaba Dapa as Deputy Attorney General, Martin J. Mensah-Kosa, Deputy Local Government Minister Designate, Amidu Chinia, Deputy Sanitation Minister, and Zuera Abudu, Deputy Gender Minister. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, listen to the drama that took place on the floor before the NDC members walked out in this report by parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo.
Who in our constituencies doing national assignment directed by the Right Honorable Speaker. He was organizing a meeting to first nominees. Mr. Speaker, why should that be so? So our side will not support these 4 nominees. We will not take part in the debate. We will not support these people. So we'll work out. When it's finished, we'll come back. Thank you very much.
That's Deputy Minority Leader James Klucha Veji lead his side to walk out of the chamber when the time came for the House to approve Deputy Attorney General Dinah Asunaba Dapa, Deputy Local Government Minister Martin J. Mensah-Kosa, Deputy Sanitation Minister Designate Isiaku Chiana, and Deputy Gender Minister Designate Lariba Abdul. The minority MPs were absent when the 4 were vetted at the Appointment Committee on June 11. They say they were obeying a declaration of the day as a no-sitting day so MPs can go help with tree planting. But Majority Leader Chairman Sabonsu says the Speaker needs to consult before giving such directives.
It's important that if a Speaker should make a ruling or give a directive in such regard, that he consults with the leadership of the House. And it's important because the speakers don't run Parliament on their own. They should be very consultative.
At a media briefing, Tamale North MP Al-Hassan Suhini called for a revetting of the 4 because the majority side disrespected the Speaker's directive.
That they did so out of disrespect
and not just to us, disrespect to even the Speaker of Parliament. And we hope that the Speaker, we're hoping that the Speaker will request the committee to revet these nominees, if possible, for the House to consider.
Now, Chairman of the Appointments Committee, Jose Owusu, who is also the first Deputy Speaker, said the committee, despite the Speaker's directive for members to participate in the National Tree Planting Exercise, decided to meet and vet.
On all decisions, what you look out for is quorum. Does the Appointment Committee have a quorum to proceed? If yes, at our committees, we don't dissect to see which members or what members were present or not present. A quorum to take a decision was what was necessary. Once there was a quorum to take a decision made is a decision of the committee. It's the same thing at plenary. Once there's a decision the quorum to take a decision made is a decision of Parliament, irrespective of who and who were present. So I think that we are stretching who was present or who was not present. It's okay for me. I don't really have a problem if for maybe some principal position that we did not participate in the consideration, so we will not participate in the approval. I will not quarrel with them as long as Parliament is not disabled from performing its functions.
That's the chairman of the Appointments Committee and first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jose Owusu there. It remains to be seen how far the minority is willing to push their demand for revetting. Now, former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor has defended the John Mahama-led administration's decision to enter into a power agreement with energy company GPGC. He insists there are far more senior lawyers among the 275 MPs that scrutinized and approved the deal as being in the interest of the nation. Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame has indicated his intention to task the Police Criminal Investigations Department to probe how government committed to the deal despite evidence that it will result in the nation having power that it cannot use.
I'm going to write a formal complaint requesting an inquiry by the CID into the conduct of the public officers who acted in a manner which resulted in the execution of an agreement which resulted in financial loss to the state. The entry into this transaction was what resulted in financial loss to the state. And I'm saying that this is borne out by the report of a committee set out by the NDC itself. There was a Minister for Power who executed the agreement. Was there not? There was a Minister for Power. There were other public officers who worked with the Minister for Power.
Is it Dr. Kwabena Donkor?
He executed the agreement. It's a matter of public record. I will not shy away from it. He is the one who entered into the agreement.
That's the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame there, but former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor disagrees with the AG's assessment. He first explains how the NDC administration would have utilized the excess power.
In 2015, we had a plan to bring all the 5 port lines of Valco back on stream. As we speak, 3 port lines are idle. Those 3 port lines consume 225 megawatts of power. In 2015, the other plan was to export power to Burkina Faso and the Sahelian countries. Indeed, our policy decision was to become a major exporter of power, if you remember. We took steps. We were completing a loop, the 330 kV loop, that will, first of all, reduce transmission losses and make it easier to export a larger amount of power.
He also insisted the deal was in the interest of the nation, hence Parliament's approval.
If the 275 people scrutinized and found it to be in the national interest, somebody today says it was poorly drafted. There are senior lawyers, far more senior lawyers in Parliament. Far more senior lawyers. Especially so when it was drafted by the Attorney General's Department. At least they represented government in terms of drafting. The agreement that was brought to Parliament had the Attorney General's Department imprimatur.
You heard that the former Power Minister, Dr. Kwabena Donko, there speaking in the yet-to-be-aired interview on Upfront with Winston Amwa. It is on the Joy News channel at 6 p.m. tonight. Now, NDC MP Al-Hassan Suhini has meanwhile filed an urgent question in Parliament demanding answers from the Energy Minister on how much government is actually spending on power the nation does not use. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta had earlier told Parliament the nation has paid a total of $937 million in the last 4 years. The MP alleges this cannot be the case.
It is important that we establish if we are actually paying for excess capacity or not. The sense I am getting is that government is not paying anything for excess capacity charges. And it is high time they told us the truth. Because how can you be in one breath complaining about excess capacity and in another breath signing on new contracts, generation contracts?
Tamale North MP Al-Hassan S. Suhuyini. Now, over 37,000 non-Ghanaians have been intercepted at Ghana's various land borders since they were closed by the president in March last year at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to the Comptroller General of the Ghana Immigration Service, Kwame Isuatichi. But with insurgent actions in neighboring countries, the Immigration Service says it's up to the task in ensuring border safety and preventing terrorists from entering the country. Kwame Isuatichi spoke to my colleague Kwekwa Santi on the sidelines of a gender sensitization workshop for top managers of the Immigration Service.
Because since the borders were closed by His Excellency last year, March, we have intercepted over 37,000 non-citizens trying to enter Ghana. Try the eastern frontier, the northern frontier, and the western frontier. So you can just imagine, our men are doing their best, but I cannot say that one or two immigration officers have involved themselves. Like they say in our culture, in our language, say be a woman. Yeah, but you look at the impact. It's the impact that you have to look at, and not that one or two officers have been alleged to collect money and allow people to come in. If we get that information, we will deal with them in accordance with our disciplinary regulations. As simple as that. And the officer also know that you are caught, you'll be dealt with.
That's the Comptroller General of the Ghana Immigration Service, Kwame Isuatichi. I'll take you to the Volta region now, where management of Olagel Senior High School in Ho say LGBTQ plus elements have infiltrated the student population there, adding that unidentified persons are using some students as proxies to recruit other students into the LGBT community. Authorities had retrieved rainbow-colored scarves and other paraphernalia linked with the LGBT community from some students. Joining sources in the school review, at least 2 students have been deboardinized in this academic year alone over the matter. Listen to headmistress of the school, Madam Regina Kofi, speaking at a PTA meeting last week.
I was in a school before coming to Ogwa. I experienced something. We need to pay attention. There was one in final year who was exposed to someone working with the army in Takoradi. The person is a lesbian. We have big people who are out there looking for girls. They also try to lure others. So what I'm saying is, even when they complete and come back home, or even if they are in school and they came back on holidays, please keep your eyes on them. We got this information through juniors who were bold enough. So at the Guidance and Counseling Department, we are doing a lot. We are trying our best, so please, parent, you must also try to support us. Thank you.
Regina Kofi there is headmistress of Olagel Senior High School in Ho. Meanwhile, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin says urgent actions are being taken to pass a stringent law to nip the activities of LGBTQI+ and other groups in the bad in Ghana. He was responding to a petition sent by Emmanuel Abankwa Kese, a political activist in the Eastern region, appealing to Parliament to amend the country's human rights law to fight activities of these groupings. My colleague Joseph Akable has a copy of that letter. He joins me in studio. Joseph, what does it say?
Portions of it reads that it is indeed a phenomenon that should not be encouraged or accepted by our society due to its eventual negative impact on it. Urgent actions are being taken to pass a law to eventually nip the activities of these groups in the bud. Stakeholder consultations are also ongoing, and the results will be fed into a bill that will eventually be passed into law by Parliament. Please accept the assurance of my highest consideration. It's signed by Honorable Alban, Right Honorable Alban S.K. Babin, the Speaker of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Joseph. I'll take you to another school, this time the Commander Senior High Technical School in the Central Region. We're told that a senior high school student has been left with badly bruised buttocks after she was allegedly caned by her house mistress. Serafina Mensah, a boarding student of the school, says she was given 40 strokes of the cane by her house mistress after she and her colleague left campus without exit. She received the canes, but her colleague did not get it. Richard Kojonyako, our correspondent, joins us on the line. Richard, tell us more about this. What more do we know?
Well, so the girl indicated that she received a call from her aunt that they should come home for food, and so she couldn't go alone and had to pull their friend along. They went, but as a result of a heavy downpour, they couldn't return. And so they returned the following day, only for them to be subjected to this ordeal. What we do know is that the matter has been reported to the KE Municipal Police Command, and then the KE Education Authorities have also set up an investigative committee, and currently that committee is on the campus of the Commander Secondary Technical. And so the director, when I spoke with her, indicated that she is waiting for the report from the committee.
Obomi 40 ni na count obomi 40 nti aba no sana madam fu no suo nti aba no wentumi anje na madam kan say o kan 1 2 so o kan we na madam fu na mba ni de no obey ni 60 na o kan 1 2 na o madam fu no beje na ni de ni 60 na madam fu no say onje ti ona e bone na wa nti o ko fe ni maame aba e na opia abonten na me medi meto no e ko che madam say madam she dia wa ye meto na o ka che me say me nche me nda na ade nchi na ade chi a mako infirmary na o ma hye esa eti ko class e pun school na madam esmo prefect ba ko say o me friend mbra e ko na madam say e mo ho na e bo ho na obi say say e ko he na e chechirem say dia meka e na say e ko ji eduane e ko town ba e ko ni ntumi amba.
Kojo, briefly tell us what she's been telling you.
So this is the girl explaining what happened when they returned to school. They were made to kneel down, and then they were given strokes of the cane. But the friend did not receive the lash, citing reasons that there were sores on her buttock. But she received another point. She got fed up and stood up, and Madam said that, well, if you will not receive it, I would increase it to about 60. And so she went on to receive the case. After that, she reported the matter to the senior house mistress, and then they went to the assistant house mistress, and she indicated that nothing of a sort was done, and so the matter had been reported.
So we're told that it's been reported to the police. Has anything been done? You've also been trying to reach school authorities. What have they been saying?
Well, so currently there have been meetings upon meetings from yesterday up to today. Because the Municipal Education Directorate, the team that was set up by them, they are currently on campus, and the series of meetings. So the school authorities have not been able to talk to us. But I spoke with a few of the teachers who indicated that, well, discipline has become a very, very difficult thing for them because proper punishment has been taken away from the school. But
that's a correspondent, Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kojonyako there, giving us updates on that situation at the Commander Senior High Technical School. Our top stories for this edition of the Midday News is Minority in Parliament demands parliamentary probe into operations of Frontier Healthcare Services as it lists a litany of breaches requiring investigations. We've also been hearing from former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor insisting that the agreement with power company GPGC was in the interest of the nation, as evidenced by Parliament's approval of the deal in July 2015. When we return from the break, we have sport, and then also later in the bulletin, topping the trends hours after its release.
One of the very, very personal message song themed in the album.
Like a rock star, baby. Pull up in the fast car, baby. Drop, chilling like a gangster.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ikuya Anderson. I'm from the Ghana Statistical Service. I'm a census official, and I'm here to count you and your household members for the 2021 Population and Housing Census.
Hey, you people, you come to count us all the time, but we get nothing out of this. Do I even have time?
Daddy, please take your ID card and letter in. We must be counted. It's very important.
You see, the data they collect is for various purposes.
to know the total number of people in the country, the characteristics, housing conditions and stuff, to inform policy. Let us in school.
The 2021 Population and Housing Census will leave no one behind. The census night is 27th June. Counting of all persons who spend the census night in Ghana will be conducted from that night to 11th July. Before then, all structures will be assigned unique numbers and basic information collected on them and their occupants from 13th to 25th June. The 2021 Population and Housing Census. You count, get counted.
Do you know that when you dial *700# on Vodafone, you are accessing a world of endless opportunities, from getting a job in another country while right here in Ghana to playing esports in real time, from attending world-class institutions from your bedroom to seeing specialist doctors without leaving home, and so much more. So get the best value data offers in Ghana on Vodafone. Get 1.23 GB data, no expiry data for only 5 Ghana cedis, 3.4 GB data for only 10 cedis, and 9 GB data for only 20 Ghana cedis. Dial *700# now.
Vodafone. Together we can.
Thanks for choosing the best. Let's do sports. Hans Mensando.
Hello, Emifa. Finally, the red shoe makes a return.
You are colorblind, that's all. Is this red?
I'll take it for red. Now, Joseph Agbeko's dream of London, another world title shot, has hit a snag, and Agbeko was unable to secure a visa for England ahead of his WBO bantamweight final eliminator versus Paul Butler on Friday night, forcing the bout to be cancelled. Agbeko, a two-time IBF world bantamweight champion, was slated to face fellow former champion Butler at the University of Bolton Stadium in Bolton, England, and the boxer is unhappy about the development. How has all of this come about? My colleague Nathaniel Lato has more in this report.
I had a conversation with Agbeko last night, and he indicated to me that the notice for this fight came in 3 weeks ago, which was woefully inadequate time. But the interesting thing here is that even with major world title fights, these things happen sometimes. So in the case of Emmanuel Tego versus Mzonke Fana for the IBO lightweight title, Mzonke Fana came in as a last-minute replacement for an Argentine opponent who chickened out of the bout at the last minute. So these things do happen. But for Agbeko, he has written a request to the WBO to give him that chance as a right that he has as a #1 contender on the rankings. Now, he looks forward to get a response. Passports that he sent in are still at the visa center, the UK visa center, which means that there was no way he could have secured a visa to travel to the UK in good time. So he is still waiting for the WBO to give him a proper response regarding the way forward for honoring this fight.
Nathaniel Lato there with that perspective on Joseph Agbeko's cancelled bout, MFR.
Thank you very much, Hans. I'll take you to the Ashanti region now, where a suspected armed robber who attempted to flee police custody has died from bullet wounds. Idrisu Adams, also known as Komi, has been on police wanted list for his involvement in a series of robbery activities in the Ashanti region. He was arrested by personnel from the Ashanti Regional Police Headquarters at Manso in Kran in the Mansia South District in a specialized operation last Tuesday. Oheming Teria of our security desk has more.
Whilst Idrisu Adams was leading the police team to places he described as his criminal hideouts, he attempted to escape from lawful arrest. Police sources say the officers shot him in an attempt to demobilize him. Idrisu was sent to the St. Martin's Catholic Hospital at Agrisu, where he was pronounced dead. At the time of his arrest, Idrisu had in his possession 3 pump-action guns, 23 AA cartridges and parcels of dried leaves, suspected to be India hemp. Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Police Command is expected to brief the media on the incident as it searches for Idrisu's accomplices. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiminteria reporting.
And speaking of armed robbery, the menace is increasingly becoming an albatross around the country's neck as armed robbers easily make away with their booty before the police arrive. Fortunately, some graduates of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have designed a smart panic button, a device used to increase the response time of the police and leave evidence for investigation. Kwesi Debra has more for Tech Thursday.
The device has panic buttons that can be installed at vantage points in the room, bus, bullion van,
or private vehicles. When the panic button is pushed, the device reports the incident to the police via SMS as well as a call. As part of the SMS, the device gives the GPS location, that is the Ghana Post GPS of the crime scene. While reporting to the police, the device simultaneously activates a camera that records a live footage of the scene and uploads it to a cloud.
In a case where the police come and the robbers might have gone already, yes, so the device stores a video footage of the scene and then images and stores it in the cloud. When the button is pushed, it gives the police a live location.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
That's it for Tech Thursday. It's time for Showbiz, and Mapitso Sabidi joins me in studio. Mapitso.
MFI. Now, musician Kiddy is out with a new album, Golden Boy. Hours after its release, it's still trending on Twitter, and he was talking about his album, and he says it has stories everyone can connect to, but here are some songs from the album.
And fighting and cussing and biting, break up and we make up and we back to making love again. Oh, you know, want to party like a rock star, baby. Pull up in a fast car, baby. Drop top, chilling like a gangster. Wanna be high like a rasta. 10 toes, one girl, make it touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, pass, pass, pass.
Me that touch it. Eh, whatever. Eh. That's it for Showbiz.
Thank you very much, Mapitso. Very happy girl. That's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Stories on myjoyonline.com that you need to visit and read for yourself. GPGC judgment debt. I have nothing to hide. Kobna Donko to Godfred Dame. ECG announces a 22-day doomso in part of Accra. Also, NPP MP files urgent question over cost of Bahamas chartered flights from 2013 to 2016. All that and more on myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. We're continuing our series on wisdom. On behalf of the entire team, thanks so much for being a part of the Midday News. I am MFA Pau. Have a good afternoon.
I won again. I won, oh. I won again, oh. This MTN spin the wheel. It is simple. Yeah, top up your airtime. Text spin to 5040 and win your prize. Simple. And you can win up to 30,000 Ghana cedis every month. Text VIP to 5040 to enjoy 10 additional points. I won, oh.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
It's the power of 8. Adansi Travels is 8 years, and as part of the celebration, we are offering you the Power of 8 cruise in collaboration with Joy 99.7 FM. For only $3,500 per person and $6,900 per couple, you will get to cruise 3 beautiful countries, Greece, Turkey, and Italy, and be mesmerized